Hey, what's going on everybody? Gundam Flexing here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the completed Gundam 00 Diver Riku's mobile suit from the Gundam series Build Diver. Now, what makes this suit unique is it's very straightforward, especially if you witnessed the unboxing video and we went over the instruction pamphlets. There are a lot of extra pieces, but what makes this kit specifically unique in my opinion is the GN drives on his shoulders, his sprinkled pieces of transparent neon green, and the dual weapon systems here, which serves as either a close range weapon or a distance or a range weapon. But before we go into the kit itself, let's go over the stickers and the atrocious amounts of extra pieces. So first up is the sticker sheet right here. And believe it or not, there are not that many. The most difficult pieces to put on the model were, I believe it was 8 and 9, these pair right here, which are gray stickers that went on his cheeks because they were so small and he had to edge them at the right corners. But other than that, everything else was very, very simple to put on. There are no issues with this. And before we go into the runners and an instruction pamphlet to show how many extra pieces, these are additional GN drives that do not actually go with this model. I believe these GN drives probably go to some sort of an expansion set that accompanies this specific model. These GN drives are much bigger. As you can see here, they're much bigger than the ones that are supposed to be mounted on his shoulders. I accidentally cut these out of the runners because I did not read the instructions. I went too fast and cut them out, and now they're just going to hang out in the box. But if I were to show you all the runners with the additional pieces, it's pretty much almost every single runner excluding the PC runner, which technically won't really count. I mean, there's like only one additional piece, but that's not highlighted. What I do want to highlight are the extra hands. So this model, the straightforward, what you see on screen, do not require the additional hands on the left side. So you have the trigger fingers, you have the closed fists. No, I'm sorry, you have the trigger fingers, and then you have the additional fists right here. But what does require on this model for opposing is his open, open left hand? Yeah, open left hand, which really you could just pose him shooting one way and have his hand burst out the other to like balance his body out. But these additional hands are pretty much for the expansion, which I believe is a beam rifle if you were to choose it to go with this kit. And we'll take a look at that really quickly in the instruction pamphlet. But other than that, you have a lot of extra pieces. Here are his backhands, back of the palms that will accompany the fists. Here are the additional legs. You even have an extra V-fin on the top, extra part of the helmet right there. Just random pieces for the hips. And then you also have another open hand right here. So yeah, a lot of extra hand pieces, and you even get a set of these transparent neon green pieces. So looking into the pamphlet, this is what I mean when it says that the hands are for the additional expansions. So here it is. It says customized by combining with the products sold separately. So you could put the hand pieces, you could cut them out of the runner and use them for his beam rifles right here. And I'm pretty sure there's more. I mean, I wouldn't really figure out why they give you like an extra pair of GN drives that are much bigger, or even transparent green pieces. And to give you an overcapped summary of how much additional pieces are left over, here they are. You can see all the X's are pretty much your additional piece. You have a tremendous amount on the B runner, none on the H, none on the I, and of course I counted the ones in J, so 5 through 9, or I guess 4 through 9 are pretty much extras. And there it is, and that's the sticker. So, looking at this kit right here, out of this entire body set, I would say the most intrinsic part of this model would be his head. And it's going to slightly pop it out. There you go. To the side. Here it is. Bring it closer. You have the fin, and you also have a green transparent piece, which is a little bit odd because on the sticker instructions you actually put the red reflective sticker over the green piece. So oddly enough, it should have probably been a lot better if it came with a red transparent piece instead of a green one and you put a sticker on. Then you have the eyes, which is a single sticker. You have the mouth guard, and on the sides right here, let's see if we could bring a better lighting to that. Right there on the sides where you see the gray here and here, those are stickers, and again, to me that was probably the most challenging part of actually placing them on. You want to put it perfectly at the edge and not covering the entire side right there. And of course you have the shins, the red shin, and then you have this single piece that runs straight down the middle with the piece at the end, and that is actually a gray piece that goes over a green transparent piece. So although it's transparent, there was like no need for it at all whatsoever. And the same goes for the sides right here and right there. Those are actually green transparent pieces which you put a gray sticker over to cover the transparent the piece, which is again to me a little bit odd. But he does have a very low collar, which does not inhibit the way he turns his head or maneuvering and flexibility. The back, he has a booster, very simple booster pack, just 2 boosters, very simple. And then on his shoulders, they're hovering above his shoulders, they're actually connected to the backpack here, are pretty much the, I guess you would call him his wings, his fins, whatever, but they have the GN drives on top. And these things are pretty much able to go up and down, so you could put it at some sort of like flapping motion, which is pretty cool. This is actually quite maneuverable as well. It's on a ball joint on the side of the backpack, so you can pretty much angle it almost however you want. You can even take the top part right here, just the blue piece right here, and move it around all the way. So depending on what kind of posing you want to do, if it's about to be like action pose or jumping pose, you're able to do that, and pretty much they mirror each other. Looking at his arms and shoulders here, what I find pretty cool is that you have a transparent green piece there, which is actually above a sticker piece. So this, it's a little odd again, because even though the sticker piece itself is gray, but the joint piece is gray itself, so you really didn't have to put the sticker in my opinion. And what the instruction I find is a little bit odd is that when you put this green piece in, be very careful. It is liable to fall out very easily because it's not in there tight. So you'll actually have to put this white piece over it to secure it in place, but that doesn't come until a little bit later in the instructions. Just to give you a heads up, so when you put it in there, it will fall out if you're not careful, so try not to lose it. And this is just a solid gray piece on the other end that is not separate, I'm sorry, this is part of the joint, but you only get one on the outside of the hands. And strangely enough, someone took out its palm, you also have a gray, it's not gray, I'm sorry, you also have green transparent pieces under, I guess you would call this like his wrist guard, but it's right here, and pretty much it's not noticeable. It's just one of these small details that you would have to really look in order to notice it, and that's a very odd spot to put it in and to cover it up with this guard right here, which is a separate piece. And of course you have his fists, and on top of your shoulder you also have some sort of bar, so it's like one of the Easy 8 parachute systems that you could wrap around his shoulders, so that's pretty interesting. Same thing for the other side, you only have a green transparent piece here, which faces the outside, and basically covers a gray sticker, which is odd. And again, here you have the green transparent piece that's being blocked by the guard, which is a little bit odd. And of course you have his chest, which, just unlike some other mobile suits, does not have any stickers requiring for it. It's very jagged, very edge, sticks out. His chest sticks out. And what I like is that this red piece here, it's sort of like it'll allow you to lean to the left and lean to the right as such, instead of a single static piece where his waist is immobile, where it can only turn left and right like this. His skirt reminds me of IBO because it's very short. It's basically, it's not hanging over the upper thighs or none of that. So this is his skirt, and these are the yellow vents. His color scheme pretty much represents the RX-78. And on the side skirts, they're very mobile, flying around like that. It's connected to the waist via a ball joint, and even the skirt in the front is just really wacky a little bit. It doesn't really want to stay in place, and it gives you the freedom to move it around a lot, which is great in a way, but it's not really necessary because it's never going to block the movement of the legs. And on the side of the skirts, you have here, you have positions where you could put his weapons, and his weapons has this pillar right here, which would go in here, and boom, that's it. His back skirt is pretty much static, and this is it right here. But you do have these two little spiky things that you would figure probably would fit the beam sabers, and I'm certain that you could either get beam sabers from your extra kit and fit them in here, or you could probably just buy it from the expansion if there's such a thing. But if not, they go in the back skirt and they fit very snug, so it's a good fit. You don't have to worry about just knocking them out of place and losing them forever into a black hole. And again, it's static, so it will just fit into this square mold as such. We look at his legs. Ooh, it fell off, but it's all good. Let me just put it in a little bit tighter. There you go. So we look at his legs. Weirdly enough, so we have in the arms, his outside of the arms, we have transparent pieces right there. But if we look at his legs, we don't have the same thing. We don't have that same option, which I think is a big miss. Especially if you have extra, green transparent pieces left over on the runners. There's nothing super special about the legs, nothing to brag home about. I mean, you do have this cool little feet cover right here. It fits pretty snug, but again, missed opportunity with the green transparent piece right here that you could just easily put on there and just sort of match the upper part of the legs. This is his feet. Again, nothing impeding its mobility. It's very mobile, very flexible. And here we have the feet, which is a single piece, so you can't really bend the heel and toes separately like that. Same thing with the other side of the feet, the legs. Now let's look at the weapon system. The weapon systems, as indicated in the unboxing video and on the side of the box art, you have pretty much these close range weapons that you could use as a saber. It has a, I guess you could call this like a hand guard. So this is what it would look like right there. Here it is. And if you wanted to use it as some sort of distance weapon, range weapon, you just pull out the hand guard like this, and the handle itself would be split in two. Like this, if I could just separate it, as such. Boom. So this would technically be the buttstock, and this would be the handle. And here we have just this white saber, which also acts like a range weapon, and you have a green transparent single piece right here, being separated by a sticker that fits very nicely on there. So whenever you put, regardless of how you decide to use your weapon systems, if you wanted to use a hand like this, it fits into his hand. Literally, you would just throw it in there. So like this, boom. That's his hand. And you can bring down the guard to make it look like a sword. Money. Now, if you wanted to use it as a ranged weapon, like he's shooting some sort of like, I don't know, M4 weapon, just bring out the guard, split the handle, like this, and again, you would just throw it in there. There it is. You would throw it in there, and if you don't push the handle all the way into the hand, it will be loose. So the thick part here, put it into his hand, and it should stay snug. Now, one thing to note is this buttstock here also acts as a counterbalance. And what I mean by that is, if you were to hold this, weapon as such, this weapon, because it's on a what is this right here? It's not very, I guess, it's great. I mean, you put it in his hand and the weapon is able to look up and down. It's not straight. It won't be straight. So this buttstock actually serves to counteract as a holder, as some sort of like, just holds the weapon in place into his upper arms, which I think is a little bit silly. So if we were to put this weapon back, and I mean, let's say he wanted to aim and shoot a weapon, it's not super straight unless if you bring the shoulders out all the way. But if you were to try to do something such as this, right, it's not snug in there, and even if you were to put the weapon all the way into his hand, it won't be fit. So the instruction pamphlet actually tells you to bring the buttstock and sort of hook it as such into the upper arms, and that get a little bit difficult here, which is something I didn't really like. I think that the weapon should be strong enough, durable enough to at least point the weapon straight, like this. There we go, like that, without using the end of a buttstock to counterbalance, because it's not a very well built system like this. It's just not great. It's awful. Awful! Other than that, I enjoyed the dual weapon systems, and I think the neon green at the top is pretty cool. So this is a very unique way to have both a ranged weapon and a close distance weapon for the same kit. And again, if you wanted a different ranged weapon like the beams, like the beam rifles, you have to go and buy the expansion. And that's about it for this kit. And before we go, let's go right into the Gundam flexing score. The design of the Gundam 00 Diver gets a score of 7 out of 10. It's not too bad, but it's not the best score either. The design is very straightforward. The only thing that really made it unique for me were the GN drives on the shoulders. The details also get a score of 7 out of 10. The only details you really get are the stickers and the green transparent pieces. In terms of the build, the score is 8 out of 10. Very straightforward build, nothing too complicated. You will have a few parts to sand down and nub removal. The price, I bought this for roughly around under $15, which gets a score out of 8 out of 10. Something that I personally would buy again if it was around that price. In terms of posing, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Not really a variety of posing you can make it with only technically one system, weapon system, that can be converted from either long range or close range, and the manipulations with its GN drive. The overall score for the Gundam 00 is a 7.4.